Whiskers was a cat. Not just any cat, though. He was the most curious cat anyone had ever seen. With his bright eyes and twitching whiskers, he was always getting into something. One sunny afternoon, Whiskers was napping in his favorite sunbeam. He twitched his whiskers and stretched his paws. Suddenly, a delicious smell tickled his nose. Fish! He loved fish. Whiskers followed the smell into the kitchen. He jumped onto the counter, his tail swishing with anticipation, but something was wrong. The fish was gone. Whiskers sniffed the empty plate. Where could it be? He looked around the kitchen, his whiskers twitching. He had to find that fish. Whiskers jumped down from the counter and began his investigation. He looked under the table, behind the curtains, even inside the cupboard. He had to think like a fish. Where would a fish go if it didn't want to be eaten? Whiskers paced back and forth, deep in thought. He looked up at the kitchen counter again. The window was open. Could it be? Whiskers had never been outside before, but for a fish-loving cat like him, this was an adventure. He squeezed through the window and landed softly on the grass. The world was so big and full of smells. Whiskers followed his nose, his tail held high in the air. He sniffed at flowers, chased butterflies, and even made friends with a grumpy-looking beetle, but Whiskers never forgot about the fish. He continued his search, determined to solve the mystery. Just when Whiskers was about to give up, he saw it, the missing fish. It wasn't in the garden or under a bush. It was stuck on the roof. A bird must have swooped down and taken it for a snack, dropping it on the roof. Clever Whiskers found a low tree and climbed onto the roof. He snatched the fish in his mouth and climbed back down. He carried it back inside through the open window. He dropped the fish back onto the plate, feeling very proud of himself. He may not have gotten to eat the fish, but he had an adventure he would never forget. From that day on, Whiskers was still a curious cat, but he was a little bit more careful about leaving the house.